Gosh, there's so many amazing different icons here. You know what these icons are going to be used for? Well, we're going to be writing kinks. Okay, not actually kinks. Like, it's not actually kinks. It's, we're doing tropes. I meant tropes. Hi, everyone. My name is Lilith Saga. I am a writer, Succubus, and PNGtuber. Today, I wanted to do a tier list of the different fanfic and writing tropes that are found throughout all sorts of media that we read. So, this is a pre-made tier list by MannaTea called Comprehensive List of Fanfic and Writing Tropes Tier List Maker. I'll put that below in the description, just so you guys can also follow along and possibly even create your own. But for now, we are going to be going through my preferences and tiers for the different tropes that are listed here. Alright, so these are the categories that we're going to be working with today. We have I'm horny for this content, very enjoyable, would read again but not a favorite, I'll give it a shot if I have time and energy, indifferent, not really my thing, and vomit in a toilet. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Alpha, Beta, Omega. At first, I was definitely indifferent to it because it's kind of hard to get into if you don't know much about it. And I was like, no, it's not really my thing. I'm not really a furry or anything, so I didn't really seek it out much. I was like, no. But then I started reading recently a couple of fanfics that, well, listen, if you're horny, and you'll read whatever is available at the moment. So if it happens to pop up and you just really want to like read it, then like, it's possible. So I started reading a couple more. I guess it depends on how it's written, but honestly, yeah, I would read again. Accidental baby acquisition. What? I need to look up this one. Accidental baby acquisition is a trope found in a number of both canon works and fan works. The most common version, the fan work's main pairing accidentally acquires a baby, and they have to take care of the child together. Okay, so it's basically just like, plop, here's a baby, let's take care of it together. Yeah, it can be cute, but I don't know, I'm not much of a baby person in general. There's a lot of crazy things happening when like taking care of a baby, but it's just not something that I'm really that into. So yeah, not really my thing. Accidental pet acquisition. So based on the fact that baby acquisition is taking care of a random baby, taking care of a random pet. Yeah, I'll just also put this with not really my thing. Like, it's cute, it's fun, you're taking care of a pet, the pet is probably adorable as fuck, but like, it's just not something that I see myself reading for long periods of time. Next up, we have the afterlife. So I'm assuming this is basically with like stories that take place in the afterlife, like maybe some kind of like reincarnation thing. I'm gonna put this one in, I'll give it a shot if I have time and energy. It's not something that I normally kind of read. Usually if it's included in a story, like, yeah, sure, but a whole genre dedicated to it, I don't really think I have that much experience with that. Amnesia. Okay, so I like Danganronpa. So the fact that I have like an amnesia character every so often for each game is definitely not something that I don't have any experience with. And I have read a couple of amnesia fics where a person's trying to figure out who they are. Those can be pretty fun. Would I do it for like long term? I mean, yeah, you do have to like figure out a person's identity in long-term means. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put amnesia on would read again, but not a favorite, because it's fun figuring out like what a person is and what they do and whether it's like good things, bad things. Alright, next we have angst. Yeah, I don't even have to like talk about this one. This is very enjoyable. I love conflict. There's no way we'll all live in the world where everything is okay and everything's all fluffy and cute. No, that's just not how the world works. So the fact that we have like these angsty fics where like, oh, there's a bit of like tension between these characters and you want to figure out how they're going to resolve it. There's so much you can do with angst and so many different ways that you can resolve it as well. And of course, you know, like tension, there's also the nice little bit of sexual tension sometimes, which can also be pretty enjoyable. So yeah. I don't want characters I like hurting too badly, but just a little bit of tension, a little bit of conflict, a little bit of spice here and there, just to kind of like liven things up. Oh hell yeah, that is definitely what I love. Animal transformation. I don't know how much of that I've actually read. Sometimes I can get into them, sometimes I can't. It depends on how it's written. Yeah, I think this is good to be left in indifferent. I don't love them, I don't hate them. I know enough about them to know about what they are as a genre, but I don't really have much of an opinion, to be honest. AU fanfiction. Yeah, we're putting this in very enjoyable. Alternate universe fanfiction is basically just a way for you to have characters go in a completely different universe and see how they interact. Putting characters in like different situations and imagining what they can do in those situations and how they interact with everybody. I feel like that's basically how fanfiction probably got started. Like, people just wanted to put people in different genres and see how they would interact. There's a lot of what if opportunities with alternate universe fanfiction, and I believe they can be some of the best stories out there. Author insert. I have written a couple of these when I was younger, and yes, it was a way for me to just interact with characters that I loved. They are fun to write, but as far as reading them goes, yeah, they're not really my thing. Baby fic. Okay, so we had accidental baby acquisition earlier. So a baby fic? So is that not the same as accidental baby acquisition? Well, regardless, baby fic, accidental baby acquisition, they both have babies in them. It's not really my thing. Basically married. Okay, so it looks like it's stuff where it's just basically a power couple. They're not necessarily married. Okay, yeah, I can dig that. I like when there's like a good couple that can like play off of each other. That can be really entertaining to watch. So yeah, I'm gonna put this in very enjoyable. Bathing together. I mean, bathing together in general can be pretty fun, but as far as like a fan fiction thing, I like it in like those like aftercare fan fictions. I don't really know any that are like completely dedicated to it. So I'm gonna put it in, I'll give it a shot if I have time and energy. BDSM. Yeah, enough said, right? Has it got like a thrilling plot or anything? Not usually. Usually it's just kind of like there's like a plot that's kind of like a side thing. You're really just there for like the horny shit. Come on, don't lie to me. So yeah, oh god, these writing tropes are writing kinks, I swear to gosh. Yeah, we're just not gonna talk much about this one. It's just gonna be here and you're just gonna have to live with it. Blanket fic. I think it's just like where you like share a blanket together, just like cuddling up during like a thunderstorm or a scary movie. Not really my thing. A lot of them tend to be just like all very like fluffy and there's like, oh, I love you, and like, oh, hold me, and we're just cuddling for warmth and they're making kissy faces and I don't know, it's too fluffy. Body swap. I've definitely read a lot of body swap stuff. Probably would read again, but not a favorite. It's fun to see how like, what would you do if you woke up in someone else's like body? But it's not something that I'm like totally in love with. What is it? Attack of the Body Snatchers, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I don't know. I have PTSD from like watching that when I was like 4. So any kind of like someone like possessing me or whatnot, I'm just like, no, please, no. Bully romance. So I'm assuming it's just kind of like where like someone's like bullying someone, but they're actually like romantic, like enemies to lovers in a way. Not quite enemies to lovers. Nah, I just don't like bullies. I'm sorry, it's not my thing. No. Case fic. A fanfic typically based on a mystery or procedural franchise which focuses on the solving of a case. Okay, yeah. If it is done well, I'm always along the ride for a mystery. I'm good with that. So yeah, I'm gonna put that in very enjoyable. It's like basically just true crime in a way. Character death. Yeah, I'd say indifferent, honestly. It's good where it is. It depends on how it's done. Like if it's like a short story focusing like, oh, this person died. Shit. What do I do with my life without them? Or it's moments leading up to the character death. Like, they're okay. I don't know, it's just not something that I'm really like full into. But if it's like a just character death in general, like in like a long-term story, I mean, death is natural. Everyone dies. If it has a story with like no character deaths, like that's what I thought My Hero Academia was going to be for the longest time. And then they started killing a bunch of characters, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's not going to be a happy-go-lucky hero saving. So yeah, I think character death I would put is indifferent. It depends on how it's used. If it's just like character death within like a long story and whatnot, like, okay, character dies, cool, I'm fine with that. If it's a whole like thing about someone's death, not really my thing. Character study. Honestly, I like character studies when they're done as an essay, whether in video format or in writing format, because I love learning about different characters. I've tried writing a couple, but I feel like my analysis is not nearly as strong as what it should be for a lot of characters that I try to analyze. So the fact that people are able to do that successfully is pretty impressive. I'd say would read again. I like learning about characters, so I guess I would put in like, yeah, let's put in very enjoyable. If it's just like notes and whatnot, like SCP kind of like stuff, like but if it's like a story revolving around a character and studying how they would like react in situations, especially if it's a character I really enjoy, then yeah, those can be pretty fun. Childhood friends. Okay. Yeah, it's a quick one. It's cute, like childhood friends, like, oh, we're like, oh, what if we marry each other? Yeah, let's make a promise, and 40 years from now we'll get married. Yeah, it's cute, but I don't know. Does people actually have people that they like had from their childhood that they would like date and whatnot? I mean, if you've grown up with them, like imagine that you've like gone to school with someone from like since kindergarten, and then like in high school there's like, oh, romantic interests. I've had people be like from like my kindergarten years like grow up and they're like, oh, hey, like, Lilith, you're looking pretty good today. Want to go out? And I'm just like, dude, I knew you when you were like crying about not being able to poke a straw into your milk carton. I don't think this is something I want to like invest in. Child transformation. Okay, I guess I'll put it in not really my thing. Cause like, yeah, like, oh, what if someone's like transforms into a child, and there's another thing of like taking care of, and I don't know, they're just not, I don't want to focus on a child, even if I am one sometimes. Crackfic. Okay, crackfics, depending on how cracky it is. There are a couple crackfics that are kind of like fun, because they're just a bunch of nonsense. There's some element of humor to them. They're really just meant for humor, but I don't know. The absurdity sometimes just really takes me aback, and I'm just like, what the hell am I reading? Why am I investing my time in this? I don't know. I guess not really my thing. I don't know. I need my humor to make sense. Dark fic. How dark are we talking? Because like, I do like dark. I like some edgy fan fictions and whatnot, but I guess I don't really seek them out, do I? I basically enjoy having like dark elements, but I don't want it to be the whole story either. Denial fic. I'm assuming that this is just someone being in complete denial about what they an issue that they're having, maybe. So I've read a couple of like denial fan fictions, especially if they're like denying the fact, no, I'm not, I won't say I'm in love. Well, maybe I might be. No, I'm not. Yeah, let's just put it in here. Yeah, because I would read a couple of those again. It could be fun as someone trying to figure out like the denial, and sometimes you're just like waiting, being like, how long does this take for them to not be in denial? That's the best part. Disability fic. I'm assuming it's a fic where a person has a disability. I think I don't like disability fics for the fact that like it's just kind of a sad thing in general. I don't want anyone to really go through that. So yeah, let's just put it in not really my thing. Dubious consent. is a tough one. Because, I mean, it can create some conflict, but isn't actual consent. So, I'm going to put it in indifferent. It depends on how dubious the consent is, I think. That's the part that I'm struggling with on where to place this. Because if it's like, oh no, I had like a drink or two, this isn't really actual consent. Like a person like taking on actions that they wouldn't normally do. But if it's something like rapey, no, get that fucking shit out of here. Emotional smut. Yup, I live for smut that is emotional. It doesn't even have to be like good fluffy emotional. It can be like a little bit of like dark, just thinking a lot into the emotion. Yes, please, I want just like people just being like basically just giving their all with both their heart and their body. It's yeah, it's in the right category if I can't even put it into words. Enemy to lovers. Honestly, I did start out as it being not really my thing, because I'm just like, why would rivals try and like fuck each other and whatnot? Like, that makes zero sense to me if they really hate each other. It can also apply to people who are just on like different sides, I suppose, which can be kind of interesting to see how it kind of like develops. It's kind of like its own kind of like Romeo and Juliet thing. Yeah, I'll put this in would read again, but not a favorite. I know it's a very popular genre out there. I don't want it to be all spite and hatefulness. So if it's like enemies with like a little bit of like, I respect you too. Oh hey, I think we actually have a lot of like connection with each other. Yeah, I think we do get along quite well. Hey, do you want to maybe date? Oh yeah, sure. Why don't we do that? You know. It can be pretty fun, so yeah, I'm just gonna put it there. Epistolary. What's this? Kore wa nan desu ka? Of a literary work in the form of letters. Oh, that can be fun. It's a different way of telling a story. It's an interesting format to go around with. I'm not sure if it's something that I really enjoy. It can be fun every once in a while. So yeah, I'll say would read again, but not a favorite. Established ship. We'll put established ship with would read again because I don't want like all the coupley stuff, because I think the most fun part of like any kind of like romantic fic is when like the leading up to actually dating. It's the chase. That's the most fun part. But the established ship stuff can be pretty fun too. Just seeing like people, they're basically an old married couple. Just seeing how they interact with each other and learn about each other. Okay, yeah, we're putting that actually in very enjoyable. Fake dating / married. The way that it starts is always like ridiculous. Like, oh, I need a date to a prom. Hey, you want to pretend to be my date? We don't have to actually date, but I don't want to be embarrassed. Yeah, we're going to put that in indifferent because like, yeah, they can be fun. It can also just be kind of like cringy excuse. So it depends on how it's written. Fan kids / future fic. Oh, those are two very different things. Going into like the future and like seeing like the post canon work basically of like what goes on after the events of what have already happened, that can be pretty fun. Fan kids? I don't like kids though. Okay, for the fact that it's a future fic, I'm gonna put it in, I'll give it a shot, because it's fun seeing different futures. Give the fan kids a shot if the future is kind of like a fun one to go into. First kiss. Those can be pretty cute. Like I said, I do love the lead-in for those kind of things. As long as it doesn't completely cheesy, it's not bad. But yeah, I love the lead up. First kiss is always like the most fun and enjoyable kinds of like writing to see how it leads up and gets to that point. So yeah, I'm gonna put it there. First time. Ooh, now we're getting saucy. I would put it in I'm horny for this, but it's the fact that like I don't know, sometimes, like, I know the first time, you know, it's always supposed to be, like, cringy, and, like, you don't know how things get started, and sometimes the cringe can just be too unbearable, and you just get secondhand cringe from it. So I'm gonna put it in very enjoyable. 5 times fic. Okay, so is that a fic where, like, you've read it, like, 5 times, or is that the character does something 5 times? Okay, so the 5 times fic is the scenarios, like 5 different scenarios. Yeah, those can be pretty fun, especially when they're like short little scenarios, like, oh, 5 times like a person did this, especially if they have like a one time they didn't. I like cute little scenarios. They're short and sweet, and they give very fun perspectives for how things could play out. Fix it fic. I'm assuming this is like just kind of like fixing the story and whatnot. Depends on how it's handled, honestly. But the good ones are really good if you don't like a certain part, and you want it to be fixed, and you're just like, you read something and you're just like, oh, what if they did something like that? There's a lot of creative aspects that you can apply to it. So yeah, we're gonna put that in would read again, but not a favorite. Fluff, aka waff. Waff? Who says waff? Would read again, not a favorite. I mean, sometimes you just need wholesome content every once in a while, you know? Sometimes you just want characters to be held and comforted. And if you can't do it yourself, somebody else has to. Friends to lovers. Yeah, that's a lot more fun. Because they feel like a lot of, like, lover, like, fics kind of end up, like, when it starts with friends as opposed to enemies, it just seems more, like, wholesome. You don't have people like fighting all the time. So yeah, I'm gonna put that in very enjoyable. Friends with benefits. Yeah, it's just the fact with the emotional turmoil of having to like figure out, is this something that I really want, or I do want to keep like fighting this person basically, even though I only just see them as a friend. Like there's a lot of like angst that goes on with it, but it's also got like the hey sexy time stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely putting that in top tier. It's a guilty pleasure, I'm sorry. Okay, gender swap. Wait, did we not already do this? We did something like this. Body swap. We did a body swap. Okay, so if you're body swapping, it's just like a Freaky Friday thing. If you're gender swapping, it's basically you're just switching genders. Yeah, I'd read them. It's kind of fun to see like female versions of male characters, male versions of like female characters, just seeing the different ways that they can interact. Gen fic? I'm sorry, what? A gen fic is one that isn't focused on romance. Okay, so it's a generic fic. Okay. I do tend to like gravitate more towards the romancy ones, but if it is something more plot related, having a general fic is pretty good too. I would read them again. Like, I don't always want things to be focused on romance, so when things are like general and like focusing more on like the different plot elements, how things like play out, like those can be pretty fun to read, honestly. Hanahaki. Okay, do I put it in very enjoyable or S tier, basically? It can be very enjoyable for the fact of like, oh, the whole mystery, what happens if the other person finds out, and stuff like that. But I mean, the real world implications of Hanahaki are ridiculous and like absurd. In fact, some people need surgery just to get like fixed and whatnot, and I don't know. It's, yeah, very enjoyable. I am a sucker for unrequited love though, so it's gotta be at least very enjoyable. So okay, happy ending. Would read again. Yeah, I mean, it's a happy ending. Like, don't want everything to be completely tragic and doom and gloom. I mean, yeah, like that's kind of like, we expect happy endings more often than not, so when it's doom and gloom, it's like, oh shit, they actually did that? But I do want things to be going well for the characters in the end, even if they're an asshole. Hate sex. It just depends on how like spiteful it actually is. Okay, honestly, I've read too much of this genre in general. I would read again. I have read it multiple times, so I guess I can't really say no to it. Humor. Yeah, who doesn't like comedy, honestly? Especially if it's like the humor that you enjoy. I mean, how can you not say no to it? Hurt/comfort. It's wholesome in a way, but I don't know. It's if they're hurting the whole time and then it's like, oh, like, sweetie. Although a lot of times the hurt/comfort, if it's accompanied with angst, is pretty good. If it's just like bad thing happened, terrible details of it, and then like they get some comfort from somebody and they start to feel better, cool. I'm gonna put it in indifferent in the blank. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. Whatever it is, I have no idea what it is, but yes. In vino veritas. Is that Italian for in wine influence? Under the influence of alcohol, a person tells the truth. Hell yeah. It's such a cheesy trope, but like I like drunkenness. I do like when people are more honest when they're drunk. It can be pretty fun. It's basically just like someone losing their inhibitions and being able to just be able to say whatever they want. It's something that I wish I could do more frequently, but then I would have a liver problem if I were to do that. Love at first sight. Yeah, I would read again. It is cute when it's just like, oh, you see someone from across the way and it's just like, oh, that's the person I'm gonna marry. And then they do. And it's like, yes. Love triangle. I'm gonna say indifferent. Love triangles are just tricky in general. For me, if I were in a love triangle, I'd be worried like, oh, does this person like love me more than like the other person in our relationship? Even in terms of just like the jealous arcs of whatnot, there's like three people like romantically like fighting over like somebody or something like that. It's messy. It's difficult to really put into words for why it just gets so messy in my head. May December romance? Is that what that says? I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. But yeah, I'll give it a shot, I guess. Well, I don't know what makes those months more romantic than any other. Okay, mind meld telepathy. Telepathy can be pretty fun to play with in general. I do like mind reading, but I don't want it to be like overused either. I'd say I would read again. Miscommunication can be fun. Like, imagine like, oh, hey babe, you said you wanted an elephant in the room, right? Here, I brought it. What? That's not what you meant? Oh, I'm sorry. It can be pretty funny if it's done in a lighthearted manner. If it's not, it can be frustrating. I'd say would read again. Not a favorite. Missing scenes. Very enjoyable. Yeah. It's basically just like, oh, like what, like imagine if like this part happened in like, it's still canon compliant, so it's like still follows everything that's going on, but just imagine like what would happen if these two had a conversation before this big event and whatnot. And it doesn't necessarily change anything, but like it's basically just kind of like an insider scoop basically, even if it's not even real. It could be interesting to see what people can come up with for those. So MST sporking? MST is a type of satire performed by adding humorous running commentary on top of another work. Humor here can range between tongue-in-cheek commentary to outright virtual, depending on the original work's quality. Okay, this is very hard to define. It looks like it's something like commentary in a way, it seems like. I don't really know. I will give it a shot though, because I'm just like, what is this? I've never heard of this. Mutual pining. Yeah, that shit's going in top tier for sure. I love it when there's like two people, like especially if they don't know that they're pining for each other. And it's just really cute to see them just kind of like float around doing a little dance, trying to figure out, ooh, what does this person actually think about me? Or, oh, would this person ever accept my feelings? But it's actually the other person just like actually like it's really into them, and it's like, yes. They're just waiting for them to just kind of figure it out and be together. I'm just like, yes. Go get it. Those are just really fun. I love those so much. Out of character. Okay, not really my thing. Let's put it not really my thing, because they're okay, if a person can capture a person's like character the way that it's intended to, that's super impressive. If it's out of character, it just does not even feel like the character anymore. Original characters, I'm gonna put this as not really my thing. I mean, yeah, I can see why people enjoy it, creating their own original characters and seeing how they like interact with other characters. But I mean, nah, it takes me a lot to like be able to like learn to like love other people's characters. If it's a completely original like work that you're doing, then hell yeah, of course I'm gonna like try and figure out what's going on with that. But if it's just like an original character being inserted, it takes a lot for me to really have the patience to get to know them. Pair the spares. Like, I get that this is supposed to be a helpful one, but I'm sorry, I can't believe I'm putting this one first as vomit in a toilet. Listen, the spares, they can be whoever they want to be. They don't have to be set up with anybody. It just seems like a recipe for disaster, and like maybe the people are just better off like being by themselves. Maybe they're not interested in doing that. I don't think it's really necessary. Why would you force someone to just be together just for the sake of being together? A patchwork fic. How does that work? A patchwork fic is a term for fanfics in which the author combines multiple elements from different adaptations of the same franchise. Ooh. I don't know if I've read many of those actually, but those do sound interesting. I think, yeah, I'm gonna put that in now, give it a try or give it a shot. Okay, period fic. Based on the fact that there's a Japanese flag here at the bottom, I'm assuming this is just fanfictions based on a certain time period. I've read a few. Some of them are pretty good. I'd say would read again. I mean, the ones that I have read, the period fics that I have read are pretty enjoyable. It's fun seeing characters that aren't normally in like that period, you know, being in that period. Period sex? Yeah, no thank you. Why would you do that? I guess the only place I can think that would make sense would be for vampires, but other than that, why would you ever? No, I can't, no. Next, persona POV? Oh, this is just basically first person. First person perspectives can be interesting, but I do prefer it when it's like third person, because then you can offer more multiple perspectives without having a weird jump. I'm gonna put it as indifferent because like for actual like writing stories and whatnot, I do like first person with being able to see things all through the character's perspective. But for fan fictions, when I'm like clearly there for a sole purpose of seeing different characters interact in different ways, I'm not a big fan of it. So I'm gonna put it as indifferent. Pregnancy fic. Oh dear. Not really my thing. I just know I don't want to deal with pregnancy. I don't want to deal with babies. It's like, go ahead and have your families, whatever. Go ahead and be pregnant, having to go through all the ultrasounds and food cravings and all that. Sure, go ahead, you do that. I just don't want to deal with it. Okay, prequel / backstory. I do like a good prequel / backstory. I'd say would read again. It really just depends on how the prequel / backstory is written. Does it develop more into like what the character actually does, or just give it a weird little perspective of like, wow, this person's really this fucked up? Wow, okay. So yeah, they can be pretty interesting. They can be an interesting deep dive into a person's perspective on things. But some people don't even need a backstory. They're just who they are, and yeah, that's just all you need to know about them. Purple prose. What the hell is that? I like purple. I pretend I have prose and writing skills. Okay, in literary criticism, purple prose is overly ornate prose text that may disrupt a narrative flow by drawing undesirable attention to its own extravagant style of writing, thereby diminishing the appreciation of the prose overall. Purple prose is characterized by the excessive use of adjectives, adverbs, and metaphors. So it's basically just flavor text, in a way. and it can be all over the place. So that's basically how I write. This really should be my like writer name. I'm Purple Prose, y'all. I'm gonna put it as I'll give it a shot if I have time or energy. I'm sure I probably have read it, and it's probably, I'm just gonna put it would be indifferent, but I really don't know enough about the term itself to really know how much of it I've read. So I'm gonna say I don't know enough information, so I will give it a shot if I have time and energy. PWP. We're gonna put that in very enjoyable. Listen, if that's what you're there for, you're getting what you're advertised. That's enough said. You're a satisfied customer that you go on about your life. Definitely a guilty pleasure, because I do prefer when there's actually some plot involved in my smut, but having it be like quick and easy and to the point, basically just when you want to jerk off, it's there, it's done, you move on, and it's good. Okay, rape fic. Sorry, no, please do not. I understand that people want characters to feel hurt. I understand that it can be part of people's backgrounds. It is a valid thing in the terms of the fact that it's valid because it happens, but is not something ethical by any means of the imagination, and I don't want to have to see it if I can avoid it. So just please do not show me this, please. I don't want to deal with it. Alright, reader insert. I like reader inserts, honestly. They're very controversial and cheesy. It's basically mostly used for romantic insert stuff, but yeah, I'd read them again if it's just for like a small quick little thing. But if it's a whole story where you're basically like changing the plot as yourself and whatnot, it's hard to like, because you don't know who your reader is as a person, so it only appeal to like certain different groups of people. They can be fun as small little like one-offs, but anything more than that, so I'm just gonna, I'd read them still though. Recursive fanfic. What? Some fanfiction may actually become so interesting to some readers that those readers are inspired to write fanfiction based on those stories, despite the fact that the original story is fanfiction in and of itself. Oh, so it's basically a fanfiction of a fanfiction. I don't know how many of those I've actually read. I mean, there are some people who like create different like series and whatnot of their own personal fanfictions, but I don't know if that counts. Does it have to be another person's fanfiction that is the fanfic is recursive of? I'm gonna need some more details. I'm gonna put this in. I'll give it a shot if I have time, energy. Secret relationship. They can be fun. Keeping a secret from people is fun. And the lengths that people go to keep a secret is even more fun. It's not something I really sought out though. I mean, they can be fun, but you also don't want it to be too cheesy either. Unless it is a comedy, I guess that's okay, but I don't know. I'd say would read again, because they can be fun, but it's not something that's really an absolute favorite. Sex compulsion. So basically just a person who's like prone to it, I guess. Prone to having sexual interactions. I mean, on one hand, like, I mean, it's just good old like smut that you can enjoy. On the other hand, even that can get old after a while. And if someone is really that compulsive, then they do have a bit of a problem. So weirdly enough, I'm gonna put this in indifferent. I just don't want that to be all that it's about. I don't know, it's a weird middle ground kind of thing, I think. Okay, shared dreams. I don't think I've really read a whole lot of shared dream kind of stuff. I mean, do people actually share dreams? Is this actually a thing that people do? I'm gonna put it in not really my thing, because I don't really see much of a benefit to it at all. I mean, I haven't read a whole lot of them, but I don't think it's something I would really give much of a shot. It just doesn't seem like there's much of an interest. Sharing a bed. Would read again, not a favorite, but like I have thought about like writing some sharing a bed fics, because the people are just like, oh no, I'll take the couch or I'll take the floor, and like the other person's just like, no, don't be silly, you'll like have back problems, or it will be like dirty and filthy, and you don't want to deal with that. So why don't you just like share with me? Oh, but that would be a little bit awkward, wouldn't it? We'd like never like, we shouldn't be that close. I don't know, it can have some like cute little like awkwardness and whatnot here and there, and sometimes it's just good like for comfort things. So I guess it can also just be wholesome as well. So sharing clothes, you know, there's a stereotypical thing of like, oh, I'm gonna like steal my boyfriend's hoodie, and because it smells like him, and it'll look really cute because it's oversized on me, so it'll be like I'm wearing a dress or something, and that can be pretty fun. But I don't think I've read much with that actually being a thing. It's just a thing that I like enjoy in IRL, I guess. I'm gonna say indifferent, because I mean, like, oh, like people borrow clothes all the time. It's not that big of a deal. Sick fic. I've read a couple lately, but they're not really my thing. A lot of the stuff in this category is really just like sick, taken care of, being all cuddly and like comforting, and that's just not my thing, I guess, when it comes to like I want suspense, I want plot, I want action, not someone bedridden with sneezes and sniffles and stuff. Slow burn. One of the most torturous tropes out there, and yet I have to put this in top tier. I gotta, because the payoff for it is totally, definitely worth it if it is done correctly. And it just feels so good when you're just like waiting for things to happen for like chapters and chapters on end, and then eventually slowly get to the point where things are at the top, the climax. It's just, yes, oh my gosh, if it has you drawn in for the like majority of it, and it rewards you for the payoff later on, yes, yeah, it's such a good feeling to be reading slow burners. Even if it's torturous, you're just like, just fucking kiss already. A time loop. I don't think I've actually read that much stuff with a time loop in it. Like, because like when things loop, they continue forever and ever and ever, and it feels like it never ends. Obviously it does end, because the story has to end eventually. It's just time loops, just there's not a lot of sense to them in the fact of like how they're actually like made. But you can do all sorts of amazing things in time loops, whether that be asking out like your crush on a date, or seeing if you can electrocute yourself with a toaster. Like, two things that are actually done in Groundhog Day, by the way. I'm gonna put as indifferent, or actually no, I'd give it a shot if I have time and energy. I guess I would just have to find a time loop fanfiction that I would enjoy, and I'll know whether or not I actually like it or not. Trapped together. Yeah. I like the trapped room situations. It forces people to interact with each other, usually confronting some kind of like problem. There's a lot of like tension that can come out of it, going straight into like very enjoyable for sure. True crossover. Okay, I literally cannot find a definition that differentiates a true crossover from a crossover. So I'm just gonna treat it as a crossover. Crossovers, those are pretty enjoyable. Being able to see what people come up with and how different characters interact. It can be people from like similar series, like different Yu-Gi-Oh franchises. They're all different, but they having them cross over and seeing how different characters interact with each other would be pretty cool. Or it can be something completely different. Like, I don't even know. I remember one time I was watching TV with my mom, and we were both into Sleepy Hollow, the television series for that. The man who played Ichabod Crane was absolutely dead spot on. So weirdly enough, there was a crossover between Sleepy Hollow and Bones, two very different shows. They're both involving with like casework and trying to find a murderer and all that, you know, like a lot of shows are. But it's just two genres I never would have thought would come together. So crossovers in general, very enjoyable to see how things play out. Unhappy ending. Oh boy. Well, we had the happy ending earlier. Yeah, I'm putting this in would read again, but not a favorite. I know that's where I put both of them, didn't I? So happy endings, they are good. Unhappy endings, I mean, they're bad for the fact of like bad things happen, but every once in a while, it's good to have an unhappy ending, because again, not everything can be like rainbows and kittens. Bad things happen, not everything has a satisfying conclusion. Unrequited love. Oh, we all know where this is going. There you go, right where you belong. I don't know why I enjoy it so much. It's just maybe because I never thought I would find anyone I love. Maybe it's just the fact that like a bunch of like my like crushes back in the day were just like unrequited and whatnot, because like I would like chase after people that were like funny and amazing, and I'm over here just like a potato. So the fact that like I guess I maybe it's something that I can like connect with, especially if like someone just like loves unconditionally. Like that's very powerful emotion, and I love it very much. And it also has a little bit of angst because it's not a happy ending. It's unrequited. It will never be loved back. Just like myself. I will never love myself back. Okay, maybe that's too dark. We're gonna ignore that. Oh boy, we're at 3 more. Okay, what the fuck is a UST? Hope it's not a UTI. Unresolved sexual tension. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. I prefer it if it eventually gets resolved, just for the, but like, I love, but tension in general, I'm just like, yes, okay, yeah, you gotta have that tension, gotta have that uncomfy feeling, but also that kind of like, yes. So yeah, I would put it in top tier, but the fact that it's unresolved, I mean, I still want it to be resolved, so, but yes, very enjoyable. Wedding fic. I guess it's also fun with like, if like things go wrong on like a wedding day and just trying to like fix everything. Yeah, I guess if the wedding fic has conflict in it, hell yeah. So I'm gonna put this as would read again. It's not a favorite, but I would read some more wedding fics if it has kind of like more like that kind of like tension. Woobification. What the hell is that? The act or process of turning a character into a wooby? What the fuck is a wooby? A term of endearment like baby. Someone who is so cute / sad / adorable you want to hug and comfort them. Softie who hides behind the callous exterior. Something or someone that makes you want to hug him, her, it, or is cute in a sad way. So just like awing over something that's very cute, maybe? Things can be cute. It's cute when people think things are cute. I've just never heard that term or definition. I would give it a shot if I had the time and energy. I don't know why it's called wooby. It just sounds too much like booby. Alright, we did the tier list, y'all. These are the writing kinks, tropes. This is where things stand for me. So again, I will be linking this tier list in the description below. So thank you, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.